Om Shri Padmatmani Namaham. Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning service this beautiful April 17th, 2022. Before we commence with our service for today, devotees, I ask you to join together with me as we chant this very beautiful bhajan, as we prepare our minds and our souls for our service for today. स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निरगुण विनाशी, मात पिता रुयार। ईश सगुण निरगुण विनाशी, मात पिता रुयार। तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तोरे भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ माया भूत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। तीर्थ माया भूत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार। स्वागत सब जन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। At this time, devotees, I ask that you join together with me now as you go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your spine, your shoulders, relax your neck and your forehead, relax the entire body. With your eyes closed and your mind focused, focus on a form of Bhagwan that's most pleasing to you, one that helps you concentrate, and join together with me as we chant our opening prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamrachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tina Taktina Bhunjita Magrudha Kasya Swidhanam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we chant together the most powerful mantra in this universe as we join together in chanting the Gayatri Mantra. Om Agakshe Varade Devi Akshare Brahmavarini Gayatri Jagat Matar Vishwayoni Namostute Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tatsavitur Bharenyam Bharagone Vasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayata Om Bhure Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitурvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayata. Om Bhure Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitурvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayata. Hari Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Prem se bolo Gayatri Mata ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer obediences to that remover of all obstacles in our life. We join together as we offer praise to Lord Ganesh. Om Shri Ganapate Namaham. Om Yajananam Bhutanganadhi Sevitam Kapitha Jambu Palachara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Pada Pankajam. Om Vakratun Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Raksha Raksha Gana Raksha Rakshatrilokya Rakshakara Bhaktanam Bhayam Kartha Trata Bhava Bhavaranavad. Om Shriman Mahaganadipataye Namaham. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ladavan ko bhunga lage santa kare seva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Ekaranta Dayavanta Chara Bhuja Bhari Mate ke Sindur Soe Musake Sawari Dhukiyo ke Dukha Harta Paramananda Deva. Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Jai Ganesha Deva Mata Jaki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. अंधन को आकृति कुरियन को खाया. भंजन की पुत्र दिति निर्धन को माया. भाव से पार करो नाथ भजन करो तेरा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जो तेरा ध्यान करो ज्ञान मिले उसको. छोड़ तुझे और भल जाऊँ मैं किसको. हे देवा कृपा करो कष्ट हरो मेरा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. लरवन को भोग लगे संत करे सेवा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता जाकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा. ओम श्री गणपते नमो नमः. प्रेम से गणेश भगवान की जय. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, we offer prayers to the mother of knowledge and that mother of learning in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Saraswati Mata. Om Saraswati Namaham. Om Saraswati Mahabhage Vidhi Kamala Luchine विद्यारूपे विशालक्षी विद्यं देहि नमोऽस्तुते ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तोभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा ॐ प्रेम स्वरो सरस्वती माता की जय. Next, devotees, we offer prayers to that universal mother and that destroys all evils in our life. We join together as we offer prayers to Adi Shakti Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaye Namaham. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhandra Kali Gopalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Jai Tvam Devi Chamunde Jai Putardeni Hardini Jai Sarvakate Devi Kalaratri Namostute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Vishnu Maiti Shabdita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Pushti Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namaya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. As we pray to Mother Durga, we say, O Durga Mata, Thou art the universal mother, and we, your children, worship you in your many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. And as we pray to you, Ma, we chant Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. We bow to thee again and again. Devotees, we offer prayers to Mother Durga in the form of the universal mother. Matri Ya Devi Sarvam Bhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. Dehi Saubhagyam Arogyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yashu Dehi Dvashochahi. Om Prem Bolo Adi Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. We continue to offer prayers, devotees, to the most influential beings in our life. We join together as we offer prayers to the Navgraha Devata, or as we refer to them in English, the 9 planets. Om Navgraha Devataya Namaham. Brahma Murari Sripuranta Pari Bhanu Shashi Bhume Suto Buddhascha Guruscha Shukra Shanirau Ketoa Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu Sarve Graha Shanti Kara Bhavantu. With today being Sunday, devotees, we also offer additional prayers to that being that exists in the form of the sun and that sustainer of all life on this planet. We join together as we offer prayers to Surya Narayan Bhagwan. Om Suryaya Namaha 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 Suryaya Namaha. आदिदेवनमस्तुभ्यं प्रसिद्धं मम भास्करं दिवाकर नमस्तुभ्यं प्रभाकर नमोस्तुते सूर्याय नमः सूर्याय नमः सूर्याय नमः सूर्याय नमः। ओम प्रेम से बोलो नवग्रह देवता की जय, प्रेम से बोलो सूर्य नारायण भगवान की जय। As we continue on, devotees, we offer obediences now and prayers to that sustainer of all things righteous in this universe, all things dharmic. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnuve Namah. Om Shantakaram Mujagashairam Padmanabham Surisham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrasham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Om Lakshmi Kantam Kamalinayanam Yogi Bhir Dhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavaya Haram Sarvaloke Kanatam Om Sashankha Chakram Sakirita Kundhalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirudhekshanam Sahara Vakshastala Shubhikostu Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturbhujam. Om Prem se bolo Vishnu Bhagwan ki jai. As we move into our next prayer, devotees, I apologize. I need to grab my book, which I did not pull out prior to setting up this morning. But as we continue on with our prayers for today, we offer prayers and obediences to that universal Father and that universal Guru, to that destroyer of all evils in this life and in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Karpurang Karunavataram Samsara Saram Bhujagendraharam Saravasantam Hirdayardavane Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Brahma Murari Surarchitalingam Niramalabhasita Shobhitalingam Janama Jadukha Vinashakalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam. Devamuni Praravarchitalingam Kamadaham Karunakalalingam Ravana Dadipavinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam. Sarva Sugandhi Sulepitalingam Munhi Vivardhana Karanalingam Siddhasura सुरवन्दितलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं कनकमहामणिभूषितलिङ्गं फणिपतिवेष्टितशोभितलिङ्गं दक्षसूयज्ञविनाशनलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं कुङ्कुमचन्दननिलेपितलिङ्गं पङ्कजहार सुशोभितलिङ्गं सञ्चितपापविनाशनलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं देवङ्गनार्चितसेवितलिङ्गं भावैर्भक्तिभिरेव च लिङ्गं दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टदलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गं सर्वसमूलभावकारणलिङ्गम् अष्टदरीन्द्रविनाशितलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवनपुष्पसदार्चितलिङ्गं परमात्मकलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत् प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् लिङ्गष्टकमिदं पुण्यं यः पतेत् शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोतिर्शिवेन सह मूर्णते ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय ॐ नमः शिवाय. Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they may have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. We ask that they have a fast. We also offer prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. We ask that their passage may be a smooth and tranquil one, as we join together and pray. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat. Om Gangadapate Namaha Om Kartikeya Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiye Namaha Om Shri Sambasada Shivaya Namaha. Om Prem se Bolo Shiva Shankara Bhagwan ki Jai. Devotees, for those of us who have a guru, we offer a prayer to our guru. If not, we take Lord Shiva in our mind as our universal guru as we join together and pray. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurue Namaham. Om Dhyanamoolam Gururmurti Pujamulam Gururparam Mantramulam Gururvakyam Mokshamulam Gurur Kripan Om Prem Se Guru Ki Jai. Devotees, I do apologize. I didn't have any songs to play for in between when I was doing the prayers in our sermon for today. So today's service may be relatively shorter than the ones we've had in the past. It may not last the full hour, but we still have our sermon to go through and understanding some words from the Srimad Bhagavad Puran. And last time we had met, which is maybe about 3 weeks ago, we had started chapter 9 and canto 1 of the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which is the passing of Bhishma Deva in the presence of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And to recap what we covered last week, we heard Yudhishthir, King Yudhishthir, residing and coming to the side of Bhishma Deva, looking for advice. Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Shri Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Shri Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran Srimad Bhagavatam Puran. We ended around verse 24 and 25 of chapter 9 last time, where Bhishma Deva was telling Yudhishthira, those yoga adepts who with him in mind devoutly meditate on his holy name, which is Bhagwan Shri Krishna, Bhagwan Vishnu, and with their mouth sing his glories, will upon abandoning the material conception of life be freed from their desire for materially motivated actions. May he, the path of my meditations, the four-handed God of gods, the supreme Lord, with his cheerful smile, his eyes red like the morning sun, and his decorated lotus face, await me when I leave this material body. So keep in mind, Yudhishthira was here, and he was at the side of Bhishma Deva because he wanted advice. He wanted advice about how he should proceed forward now that the war is over, and now after all of these souls have been taken, all of these lives have been lost. And keep in mind, Bhishma Deva was not necessarily Yudhishthira's greatest friend, but he was also his greatest enemy in the war. But, of course, Bhishma Deva, very wise, was still able to give advice. So, as we hear from Sutta Goswami, as he's telling the sages in the forest more about this story, he says that Yudhishthira approached Bhishma Deva, looked at him, and he said, who heard from him, who was lying on the bed of arrows, asked him, with the rishis listening, what are the different religious duties that need to be performed? What are the things that need to be performed now? I think Yudhishthira is now thinking that now that the war is over, now that duty is over, he has to dedicate himself, his life, to Bhagwan Shri Krishna, just like Bhishma Deva was saying. So he said, what are the different religious duties? What do I need to know about religious duty? Of course, Bhishma Deva has an answer. Bhishma Deva describes to him the various stages of life and the vocations as determined by a person's character, as also the way one should systematically deal with both the symptoms of attachment and detachment. He gave an outline of the duties of charity, rulership, and liberation, including a more detailed description, and also discussed the duties of women and those of devotional service. So first and foremost, he describes to Yudhishthira the details related to the various stages of life and what needs to be performed in those various stages of life. And I want you to understand that various stages of life really dictate the duty that we have at that point in time. The duty of a child really is two things. One, to learn. Every child should attempt or be taught something, whether it be about life, whether it be about mathematics, science, any sort of course. And it's the child's responsibility to accept that learning. But two, it's a child's responsibility to also be a child. Unfortunately, because of the circumstances that some children are in, they can't do that. So therefore, their duty changes. If I think about all the stories I heard last weekend when I was sitting down with my dad's side of the family about what they had to do in Guyana and what some of their aunts and uncles and their grandparents had to do in Guyana, some of them didn't have that ability to be a child their entire time. They had to go out and do work. They had to work in the fields. They had to maintain the herds, the cows. They had to do what was necessary to provide and make sure that the family could stay afloat. I was told that one of the reasons that having a good number of kids was a good thing was because a good number of kids meant that you have more hands to help bring in more money to the home. So unfortunately, we couldn't let kids be kids when they were younger back in Guyana. They had to perform work. They had to perform duties like an adult would, and that took away their brahmachari phase. But what Bhishma was saying is that the various stages of life determine your character, and we should deal with these symptoms of our various stages of life and know what attachment and detachment is from each stage. I, as a homeowner, need to know what detachment is. I can't be bugged by the little things around me. And then he gives an outline of duties of charity, rulership, and liberation, including a more detailed description, and also discusses the duties of those who are related to devotional service. Things he's not giving us in great detail, but we know that he's talking about charity, rulership, and liberation, freedom, how we look over people, how we be good leaders, and how we perform charity. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita talks about that very clearly. If you think about chapter, I believe it's chapter 16, where it talks about demonic nature. It says that a person who donates to charity but still has greed for wealth in his heart is a demonic person in nature. So we have other texts that tell us what these things of duty and charity are. Knowing the truth, he, O sages, described the civil virtues of regulating the religion, economy, desires, and liberation, thereby giving examples of known history. And remember the fact that Bhishma Deva was not just some warrior of the same age of them. He was the only character in the entirety of the Mahabharata to see the war from the very beginning to the very end, including all of the politics and everything involved at the very forefront of this. So he was very wise, very knowledgeable. He knew how to lead a kingdom. He knew how to guide kings to be good kings in the future. The time Bhishma Deva described the duties, the sun ran over the northern hemisphere, which is precisely the period preferred by the mystics for leaving this world. Bhishma Deva, the protector of thousands of sciences and arts, then fell silent. With a mind freed from all bondage, he thereupon fixed his eyes wide open on Krishna, the four-handed original person who was standing before him clad in yellow. Simply looking at him, the annihilator of the inauspicious, his meditation purified and his pain from the arrows disappeared instantly. And as he was praying before the material tabernacle, all of the activities of his senses ceased when he departed for the controller of all living beings. It's such a great story for me to hear. I think the only caveat to it is that we hear Bhishma Deva is now passing, and he has something to focus on, which is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And it's important for us to put our minds and focus on our goals if we want to achieve them. Here, his devout devotion, his pure devotion to Bhagavan Shri Krishna not only purified his soul, but it alleviated his pain. And we talked about this for those of you who were there at Hanuman Jayanti Puja yesterday. We talked about the strength within inside every single one of you. Pain is a material feeling. I know that pain is always going to be there. Emotional pain, physical pain, mental pain, spiritual pain. But there's something deep within you that allows you to supersede that pain, to nullify its effects, to make sure that you can be successful. And that comes from within you, but you have to be able to focus on your goal to do that. If you don't feel like you can focus on your goal, you need to step back. You need to take some time to breathe. You need to take time for yourself. Serena and I talk about that all the time, which is making sure that we have time for ourselves, time to balance our lives, because our lives are complicated. We have work. We have to come home. We have to make sure that the house maintains. We've got to take care of the dog. We're going to have to take care of a baby soon. We still have to spend time with our families. I have to go to Mandir. She has to help me with Mandir things. We have services every so often. Every Sunday there's something that needs to be done. We're trying to make things move and go smoothly as possible. So in all of that haze and all of that fluster, when do we have time for ourselves? When do we have time to do things that we enjoy? So it's important to take a step back, to be able to focus on your goals. Bhishma Deva had the opportunity to have Bhagwan in front of him. As he focused on Bhagwan, his pain went away, and he passed from this world. Shri Bhishmadeva was set freed from desires. My mind is now ready for the Supreme Lord, the leader of the devotees, the great self-contented one, who in the realization of his transcendental joy, at times takes pleasure in accepting his material world that changes constantly. He is the most desirable person of the higher, lower, and middle worlds, bluish like a tamala tree. He wears his dress that shines like the golden rays of the sun. He has a body decorated with sandalwood pulp and a face like a lotus. May my love, free from material motives, repose in the friend of Arjuna. Let the mind be directed towards Shri Krishna, who, with his scattered hair, that on the battlefield, turned ashen from the dust of the hooves, with his face decorated with the perspiration of his skin pierced by my sharp arrows, took pleasure in wearing his protective armor. After hearing the command of his friend, he drove the chariot between the opposing forces. Were positioned, he diminished the lifespan of the enemy by simply looking at them. Let there be my love for that friend of Arjuna. Seeing the faces of the troops standing at a distance, he, with his transcendental knowledge, eradicated the ignorance of him who, because of polluted intelligence, was reluctant to kill his kinsman. Let there be transcendence of my attraction to his feet. Giving up his own promise not to fight and fulfilling my vow to make him do so, he got down from his chariot, took up its wheel, and, while dropping his outer garment, paced towards me like a lion about to kill an elephant. Wounded by the sharp arrows of the aggressor that I was, and with his armor broken, he, smeared with various debris, in angry mood, moved towards me in order to kill me. May the Supreme Lord, who awards salvation, become my destination. There's a very important thing behind all of that too. He's recognizing the opulences of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, but he's also recognizing that Bhagwan Shri Krishna had to do something to him that Bhagwan Shri Krishna promised he would not do, and that was take his life. And there is a boon. There is a known saying out there in the Puranas that says, if your life is ever taken by the hands of God, you automatically, immediately achieve salvation. And why is that, devotees? Why do we think that? Why do we think that by your life being taken by the hand of God, you achieve salvation? Now, there are some exceptions to this, but what are you focused on at the time of your death? Who are you focused on at the time of your death? What are you seeing, Bhagwan Shri Krishna? In this case, that's what Bhishmadeva is saying. He's seeing Bhagwan Shri Krishna do all of these things, but he's also seeing the greatness of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Let me in my dying hour be the love for the personality of Godhead, who, controlling the horses with the whip in his right hand and the reins in his left, so elegant to behold, by all means protected the chariot of Arjuna. It was by looking at him that those who died at this place realized their original form, what their service in this world was, what their duty in this world was. Watching the attractive movements of his supremely spirited, fascinating acts, and and sweet loving smiles, the gopis, imitating him, madly in ecstasy, experience his nature. When the king Yudhishthira performed the Rajasuya royal sacrifice with the great sages and kings that were assembled, he received the respectful worship of all the members of the elite. I present that recognized him at the time and still remember him now as, alas, the supreme soul, as the object of worship. Having experienced the absorption of being freed from the misconceptions of duality, I know ever since that he, now present before me, is the one unborn in the heart of the conditioned soul. It is he who is situated at the super soul in the heart of all created beings. By him is looked upon differently from every angle, just like one sun. A lot of verses, and what I don't typically like to do is read to you exactly word for word is being said, the entirety of it, but it's important here for me to read everything to summarize to you that Bhishmadeva recognizes Bhagwan Shri Krishna as the unmanifest supreme Godhead. He sees him in everything that's being done, and he sees him at everything that's being done. Now again, there's a difference here because Bhishmadeva can actually physically see Bhagwan Shri Krishna. We have to manifest that thought of him being there in our minds. But without us being able to see a physical form, does that mean it does not exist? Absolutely not. What Bhishmadeva is saying here, and what is very important for us to recognize, is that he's saying God is here, God is there, God is everywhere. God is in everything that I do, God is in everything that you do, God is in everything that everybody does, and I see it time and time and time again. How could I have anger in this world? How could I have spite in this world? How can I have greed, lust? How can I have any negative thought, any demonic feeling, when I know that God is right there the entire time, with me the entire time, supporting me the entire time, assisting me, loving me, carrying me the entire time? How can I feel bad? How can I make any sort of denotion that I should feel bad about the world or do anything bad into this world when God is here, God is there, God is everywhere? Summing up all of those verses, that was starting on, where did we start off there? Verses 32 all the way through verses 42. Honestly, the only thing that Bhishma Deva is saying is that you need to worship your God. See him as the supreme, the universal Godhead. Devote everything you do to him. Keep your mind fixed on him firmly. And by doing that, no matter what the scenario, no matter where you are, no matter who you're around, you will achieve salvation, so long as you focus on your Bhagwan. After hearing all this, Sutta Goswami now tells the sages, with his mind, speech, sight, and actions thus being fixed on Krishna alone, he fell silent and stopped breathing after having merged in the living being of the Super Soul. Remember that Bhishma Deva sat on the bed of arrows for a good long time to wait until the sun was in the right position. And with the presence of Bhagwan Shri Krishna, as well as all of these great kings and sages surrounding him, he left this world. Understanding that Bhishma Deva had merged into the absolute and unlimited supreme, everyone fell silent like birds at the end of the day. Thereafter, from everywhere drums sounded, being beaten by gods and men, accompanied by heartfelt praise from the pious royal order, and showers of flowers falling from the sky. O descendants of Bhrigu! After having performed the funeral rites for that body, Yudhishthira was afflicted for a moment. The sages, who were satisfied and happy about the confidential secret of Krishna's glories, then turned back to their hermitages, with him installed in their hearts. Yudhishthira went together with Krishna to Hastinapura and consoled his uncle and ascetic aunt. With the approval of his uncle and consent of Vasudeva, he therefore ruled the kingdom, conformed the Dharma and greatness of his father and forefathers. So, essentially, Bhishma Deva passes. The appropriate rites are done. After hearing the words from Bhishma Deva, the sages went back to their hermitages. They made sure that they had that Bhagwan Shri Krishna in their heart. And Yudhishthira, even though still was slightly conflicted, went back to rule his kingdom with the appropriate dharma, with that appropriate righteousness and the greatness of his father and his forefathers, understanding and realizing that what? Bhagwan Shri Krishna is here, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is there, Bhagwan Shri Krishna is everywhere. I'm going to live my life devoted. I'm going to serve and perform my duties as I need to, and I'm not going to have any doubts about them. And that is what we need to take away from this. Most importantly, we all have a duty in this world that we need to perform. Your duty is set by you. It is not set by others. Others may help guide you into performing your duty more successfully, but at that note, it is you who has to complete your duty at the end of the day. You have to do it in your means possible. You have to do it with your knowledge, and you cannot let anybody intervene in performing your duty for you, and you cannot let anybody tell you how to perform your duty, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're the one performing it. All the repercussions, all the reactions, all the good karma, all the bad karma comes from the actions you take, not from what somebody else tells you to do. So remember that. Your duty is your own. And while you perform your duty, make sure your mind is focused in the right place. Keep your eye focused on your goal. Keep Bhagwan Shri Krishna in your mind, in your heart, in your soul at all times. Be successful at what you do. Be happy with the outcome. Relinquish all ownership of the results of those actions, and try to achieve for something great in this world. Prem se Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. And like I mentioned, devotees, again, I do apologize. I don't have a lot of content for you today. We had our Hanuman Jayanti Puja yesterday. We had our prayers today. I just didn't have any songs to play in between. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that we're over just yet. Before we end for today, I want you all to go ahead and join together with me one last time as we clasp our hands and close our eyes. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your spine, drop your shoulders, relax your neck, drop and unwrinkle your forehead. Relax your entire body. With your body relaxed, your eyes closed and your mind cleared, focus on a form of one that's most pleasing to you, one that helps you concentrate. And join together with me as we chant our closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swasti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shanti Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschita Dukabhag Bhavet. Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktahinam Janardanam Yatya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Tarastu Me Papoham Papu Karmaham Papu Atma Papu Sambhava त्राहिमं पुण्डरीकाक्षं सर्वपापो हरो हरि। ॐ त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम नेव नेव। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युमामृतं गमय। हरि ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ओम शांतिरन्तरिक्षं शांतिर पृथ्वी शांतिरापा शांतिर औषधय शांतिर्वनस्पति शांतिर विश्वदेव शांतिर्ब्रह्मा शांतिर सर्वं शांतिर्शांतिरेव शांति सामा शांतिरेधि। हरि ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम तत्सत्। ओम प्रेम स्वर गणेश भगवान की जय। प्रेम स्वर आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय। प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय। प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय। प्रेम से बोलो शिव शक्ति मंदिर की जय। प्रेम से बोलो सनातन धर्म की जय। Devotees, with this, we've come to the end of our virtual Sunday morning service for today, being April 17th, 2022. And I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in with me as we continue to perform our pujas virtually. Again, it was just a more coincidental situation. Hanuman Jayanti was yesterday, and with the approval of the executive board, we decided just to make today a virtual service, just to give everybody a break and to ensure that, you know, we're not burning ourselves out on driving and going back and forth too much. The negative of the pandemic was that we couldn't see each other because of the virus. One of the silver linings that came out from the pandemic is that we can all still get together no matter what, even if there is a lot going on in our lives. So again, thank you to all of you for being here and for being with us as we perform our virtual service today. Just keep in mind next week, which is April, 24th. Let me make sure I have that date right. We're not in May yet. And April 24th. So next Sunday, April 24th, we will have in-person service. It will not be done virtually. It will be in person. So we will still have our virtual stuff up. So if you want to join virtually, you're more than welcome to do so. But just know that service next week is going to be in person. Beyond that, I just want to make sure I'm getting a few things correct here. For those who are in chat, which is Indira Didi, Sita Ram to all of you also who are watching. We only have one other event that's coming up in the next month, and that's on Monday, May 9th. That is known as Sita Jayanti, or the birth of Mother Sita. Again, that's Monday, May 9th. We're going to have a very special sermon for that one on our Sunday morning service on Sunday, May 15th. But we won't be doing anything particular on that day of Monday, May 9th. We won't really be doing any sorts of things differently on Sunday, May 15th. But just know, again, Monday, May 9th is known as Sita Jayanti, and the day before that, just so happenstance, Sunday, May 8th is also known as Mother's Day. So those are the only events we have coming up. Other than that, devotees, the summer is pretty clear. We have Guru Purnima happening in July, and then the rest of the pujas won't be happening until August, September, October timeframe. So take some time to enjoy the rest of your summer as well, and the spring and everything that's going on. I know that the weather today is supposed to be a little bit more hazardous going into the evening, followed tomorrow. But with that being said, devotees, again, thank you for your continued support. I apologize. I did not text our president for any other updates or announcements. I know he made a good few yesterday, but again, thank you all for your continued support. I hope you all have a safe, happy, healthy week. If you need anything from me, you are more than welcome to let me know. And again, thank you for your continued support. Jai Sita Ram, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday for our regular Sunday morning satsang.